Well, hello YouTube, how you doing? So, big incoming rant, sort of. I mean, you've been hearing about how I've been having problems, basically, with Windows 10. Now, I went back to Windows 8, basically because it gives me the most stable performance in the sense of gaming. Because I'm able to game and do stuff and, muck around with stuff. So, before I couldn't even play GTA 5 on, full 4K resolution and everything else. And, I mean, my computer's not that old. It's not that old. It's got pretty good specs on it, okay? The actual specs of my machine are as follows. So just it's a little bit smaller. So the specs of my machine is an AMD FX 9590, 8-core processor, 4.72 GHz, 32 gigabytes of RAM, 64-bit operating system, obviously. Now, my point that I'm trying to make, and the point that I'm trying to give across to you is that I shouldn't have that many problems trying to play my games and do stuff. I had problems rendering videos as well. I had to go back to an old version of the Nvidia drivers, unfortunately, which seem to be working for all my games and stuff. My games are no longer broken. They're pretty much all of them. I couldn't get any of them to pretty much work, and just none of them would, cycle up correctly. So as you can see, the latest driver, which is the latest Windows 8 driver, which I haven't got, that doesn't work either. I had problems with that. I couldn't get that to work either. The driver that I'm on is... what's the driver I'm on? Which is 353.30, which is... it's going back a couple of drivers on the 353 series, but my point is anyway, I went back a couple of drivers and everything's working now. So, it's all working. Basically, I had issues where I couldn't get my games to work, and I couldn't get anything to work in 4K when I expected it to work in 4K. And it was fucking pissing me off to no end. I couldn't even get, the Alan Wake game to launch in 4K. Well, let's just have an example of that. Let me launch this game and show you exactly what I mean. Okay, so look, I'm launched now. As you can see. Press the button, and that is on 4K. As you can see, 4K. It's not crashing, it's not doing anything stupid. I can actually go into the game itself, load up a game. So yeah, at the end of it, it's down to drivers, or down to driver issues in, basically in Windows itself. Now this is one Windows 8. Now, as I said, I shouldn't have that many issues with it. So yeah, as you can see, it actually works. Now, even the games that I couldn't get working before, I couldn't even get, what's the name of the game? I couldn't even get Left 4 Dead to work, or Left 4 Dead 2, and I couldn't even get GTA 5 to work. And the GTA 5 I tested before, and it launches fine, and all my other games seem to be launching okay. I've reset some of the settings on my games. Most of my games, I mean, look, put it this way, most of my games seem to be working pretty well. There might be a couple that don't or not work, but, there might be a couple maybe that I haven't tested fully, but look, the games that I normally play and I normally would play actually worked. So at the end of it, I'm perplexed as to what the hell's going on with the Nvidia drivers. Basically, I've got SLI enabled. The desktop part of Windows 10 seemed to work okay. It seemed to have a reasonable run through. You know what I mean? But I've got, as I said, I've got everything actually working on 4K where it should be. Now, as I said, this is sort of a bit of a rant thing because I'm annoyed with what issues Windows 10 has been having in that sense of things. I've reinstalled all my software and everything else because I had to do a complete format and reinstall. So I've done that. I've reinstalled, formatted, done that type of stuff and fixed that up. Probably could clean my drive out anyway, but that's not a big issue. I've cleared everything out. This is my point. But I had to go all the way back to Windows 8.1 to actually get anything to work properly. So yeah, it's sort of left me annoyed and you could say a little bit perplexed as to what the hell's going on with my system. I've also put the timings for my RAM directly into my motherboard as well, which is great. But I had to actually check the timings on the chip on the actual memory chips itself, because I didn't have them. I was going off some memory chips timings that I got off the internet, which weren't the correct ones. But I got that working anyway. Everything's working in that sense of things. So. Then you've got, I mean, look, pretty much everything else that I've thrown at it seems to be working. As I said, what's pissing me off is that all the other games that I've managed to chuck at it and do things with, as I said, which I couldn't get this to run in 4K before. Alright? I couldn't even get this to actually launch in 4K. It would literally crash the second after I started to launch and do stuff with it. So, let's go to, I'll start. As I said, this is my point. Look how fucking fast things are loading now. In comparison, I've gone back to Windows 8, and as I said, I would have crashes. I would have crashes, and I mean, I probably need to actually record the crashes that I had or the issues I had when I was on Windows 10. But I just wanted to point out that it's not my imagination that this is happening. It is actually happening, and at the end of it, I know for a fact that this was happening.
Grab something. I got a feeling this isn't going to be easy.
So, it's sort of, as I said, it's annoyed me, because I mean, at this point, let's see, video settings, as you can see, I've got it on native 4K. As you can see,
reloading.
Like, being able to do this on Windows 10 was almost impossible, especially trying to get anything to work past, I think it was 1440p. I tried going past 1440p, but nothing, you know, I mean, bar 1440p working when it felt like it. That's... Yeah, that's my point anyway. Bar it working when it wanted to. Yeah, that was about it, so...
Damn it, elevator's out.
See, yeah. So, yeah. Shit.
Nasty shit. Reloading.
So this is my point. I'm getting much better throughput. I'm getting much better. I mean, okay, yes, my cards are more designed for DirectX 11 and things like that. But I mean, at the same time, they're supposed to be able to making the new cards compatible with DirectX 11. DirectX 12, sorry, which is the new standard for Windows 10. But I don't know what the hell they've been doing. What Nvidia has been doing, to be honest, because it feels like in the last few releases of their drivers, they've just been doing absolutely shit. Yeah, just... Look, put it this way, I paid a lot for my hardware when I bought it, and okay, at the end of it, okay, sure, yeah, you can say upgrade, but I mean, I don't always have the money. And it decided to crash. That's interesting. As I said, I don't always have the money to upgrade. I don't always have the money to do that. It's not always possible to do that. As I said, most of the games that I'm coming across work pretty well. I mean, okay, that Left 4 Dead did crash out of the game, but I mean, that's probably just something I could probably go further back on the driver if I wanted to be honest. So... let's go into GTA 5. But as I said, I just played through, which was, you know, just a little bit of Alan Wake to show you that Alan Wake worked. Alan Wake was fine. So, I mean, look, it's just interesting. Some of my games are working, some of my games aren't. But at the other end of it too, I'm trying to work out, like, okay, how come my games some games are working perfectly in Windows, or most of the games in Windows 8 have worked pretty perfectly for a certain amount. As I said, it comes down to the drivers and the drivers being an issue. Now, I couldn't even launch this in 4K before, you know what I mean? I couldn't even get this to launch properly in 4K, which was GTA 5, right? It was having issues just trying to launch. Now, going back to Windows 8.1, it's taken away a lot of whatever compatibility issues that, you know, was going on with Windows 10 anyway. Now, at the end of it, I'm not going to go back to Windows 10 until I feel everything's completely, you know, the bugs are sort of, they've ironed a few more of the bugs out, to be honest. And then, of course, when the drivers get better and the drivers actually work. You know, I mean, I'm waiting for pretty much Nvidia to fucking fix the drivers. So, look, at some point in the future, I'll probably end up going forward to Windows 10. You never know. It probably most likely will happen. But it is frustrating at this point in time not being able to go onto Windows 10 and sort of, you know, being stuck at this point I am. But at the same time, I've had a few people say in the tech community say the exact same thing, in the sense of, you know, Windows 10 has issues, and there's a few issues that it has, obviously. I mean, yes, partly these issues are related to drivers, but I mean, okay, from what I can tell, all the single card stuff works for Nvidia, which they seem to have, from what I'm gathering, most of that's been fixed up, I think. I don't think there's any really big single card issues, or there hasn't been any really big single card issues. So, let's see, I'm actually running this in 4K. So, I mean, at the end of it, you know, I don't know, it annoys the shit out of me. So you go to settings. As you can see, it's actually working. There's a green. Probably could have set settings back a little bit so they're a little better, but maybe. I mean, at the end of it, I've got two 770s. I'm not going to fork out for two new cards when I know these cards still do a damn good job regardless. You know, I mean, at the end of it, yeah, I don't know. It has made me wonder, though, with all the driver issues that have been cropping up on the Nvidia side of things, is whether I should actually go for an AMD or the Fury X's or 3W things or whatever. To be honest, I've been considering it, and I'm thinking about saving the money to actually get cards, basically. Yeah. I mean, at the end of it, that's what I want to do. But it's sort of a squash between the situation. I'll work it out, and it will come down to that. Work out what the best course of action is, but I mean, then I don't know, I'm sort of contemplating what just wait out the driver and see how the driver's going, you know? As I said, I'm getting actual playable gameplay. I'm getting things that are actually working properly, you know? I mean, it's not as if my game is shitting itself. And what I'm not getting, or what's making me scratch my head, is more along the lines that, you know, shouldn't have these things been ironed out firstly in Windows 10, if it was a Windows 10 issue? And if it's a driver issue, why the I mean, my god, how long has Windows 10 been in development? It's been in development a fair amount of time, and I think what's stupid is the fact that they haven't managed to work the drivers out yet. And there's the blame keeps getting passed between Microsoft and fucking Nvidia, and I'm like, well, which one is it? Or is it just both of you that are fucking something up, seriously? And I have to wonder that, you know? I mean, what the fuck? Okay. So there. Let's see. this is my point. I couldn't even do this. I couldn't even get 4K to actually do any of this type of stuff. I couldn't blow up a car and do all the shit that I'm doing right now on my fucking previous drivers. Or sorry, correct me, on the Windows 10 drivers. I couldn't get any of that shit to work.
Oh my fucking god!
You know what I mean? Like, that's my fucking point, you know? Like, what the hell is that bullshit? Okay, I'm sorry, but that has pissed me off, so... Close shit, so good. I mean, this is my point. Look, I'm sitting here driving and smashing the crap out of the cops. I couldn't do this on fucking Windows 8. I couldn't do this on fucking Windows, I couldn't even fucking do this on Windows 10. I couldn't even get it to work on Windows 10. It's like, what the fuck? Nothing works at all. Like, in the sense that I couldn't... I launched, I think, what was the game? Alan Wake, and it would crash. It would literally go to a blank screen, and my screen would just vanish and go blank, and the video card would literally stop outputting. And, like, I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I'm serious. As I said, these issues have been pissing me off. And these issues need to be addressed with Windows 10. It's clear that they do. I mean, at the end of it, I'm just going to wait it out and see what happens. But, I mean, fuck. I'm so frustrated with the fact that, you know, just... stupid, retarded shit. That, you know, that they're fucking annoyed, you know, I don't know, just frustrating. Whatever. Anyway, my point is, it was frustrating with that issue. So, I mean, as I said, I'm not... Yeah, no, I am pretty much pissed off. You'd think they would have fixed it, or you'd at least think that Nvidia would have, you know, at some point realised what was going on with the drivers and tried to fix some of the issues. But it seems as if lately they just haven't even looked at any of the issues related to SLI or anything of that nature. And I think for anybody who's got enthusiasts, it's just ridiculous, you know. We shouldn't have to wait this long. I mean, the fact that we have spent a good amount or a massive amount, the massive amount we spent on things, it shouldn't, you know, shouldn't have to. I mean, you know, I mean, you consider how much you put into your PC hardware. You know, there's a lot of money and investment that goes into PC hardware, especially these days. Particularly if you're a hardcore gamer and you love your stuff, you know.
Get some!
Particularly if you're a gamer. I mean... When you're a gamer, it makes it twice as hard in certain circumstances. Because you're trying to, I mean, okay, firstly, you're trying to keep, I mean, I try to keep up with most of the latest software, hardware developments, but I mean, at the same time, I'm on a budget. I'm a budget-conscious gamer as well, but at the same time, I've bought a few things. But most of the stuff I've ever bought, I mean, it's AMD stuff, but most of the stuff I've ever bought has been on special. It's all 50% of it. Oh, shit. Most of the stuff I've ever bought, whether it be the fact that it was my Evo drive that I use, my main Evo SSD drive that I bought, which was on special at the time. I bought it on special. I think it was at shoppingexpress.com.au.
Crazy looking view.
There's some great specials out there. I mean, I bought a percentage of my drives too. You know, I bought those on special too. Most of my 3 terabyte, you know, drives that I have, and my 4 terabyte drives and stuff from my storage for my, you know, YouTube and everything else. As I said, what's pissed me off is the fact that I invest so much into my PC hardware, and then the potential power that it has is not even being used to its fullest potential because of the fact that the drivers are just fucking retarded. And I mean, okay, some people would argue that AMD it's sort of weird because it's come full circle where Nvidia had their driver problems, and you know, AMD had their driver problems originally, and now it's sort of turned around and bit Nvidia in the arse in the sense of, you know, they're having driver problems now. But I mean, look, at the end of it, look, I'm on the original, I'm on the older drive, I'm on older drivers at the moment. the latest drivers I've tried, and they just don't fucking work. Latest drivers are just shonky as hell. Or to get them to work, it's just as annoying as hell. You know what I mean? But what's pissed me off is the end of it. All I've tried to do is get everything working and just make sure everything's working properly. And I'm like, fuck, really?
Wow, how is life, my dear?
Alright, so I'm going to leave that anyway. Well, I won't leave it there, but I'll X out of this anyway. But this is my point. I mean, look, I'm sorry, but it shouldn't take that long to fix the drivers. It shouldn't take that long to, you know, get everything repaired. If I can get as good a performance as I'm getting, on that one that on that game that, as I said, on GTA 5 that I just showed you, I should be able to get the same performance on Windows 10. Shouldn't be an issue. And the other side of it too, I mean, you got a few other games. I don't know, I mean, it vastly depends on the game, I guess, and, you know, each game is configured to do its own sort of thing, but, I mean, at the end of it, what's got me more... I haven't really launched this game. Just want to see if it actually crashes, to be honest. I'm curious. I don't think it will, because I'm pretty sure this game was working before. I sort of had it working before, but, I mean, as I said, I understand there's compatibility issues with games. I get that. I do understand that happens, but I mean, my rig isn't that crappy, and it's got a pretty good throughput on most things, and you know, it's got a pretty good data rate and everything else. It's not a crappy computer by any means. So I shouldn't have half the problems I'm having. You know what I mean? At the end of it, I shouldn't have half the issues. Everything should work correctly. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I think I'm like halfway through already. Hold on a second. I think it's set to 256 to be honest. But anyway, I mean, that's my point. I couldn't even get that to work before, you know what I mean? I don't know, it's ridiculous to be honest. Yeah, that's not responding. Interesting. I'm just curious. Maybe I should relaunch that again. As I said, I mean, you know, you get little teething errors, and I expect that with any game, you know, like having to adjust a game to a certain resolution, or, you know, doing other stuff and things like that. I get that. That happens. I know it does. But some of the ridiculous weird ass shit, like in the sense of completely blank screen, right? On completely blank screen on a game like normal games that I would test with 4K, right? That just seems stupid. I mean, like a blank screen, like no video whatsoever, no nothing, you know? That just seems ridiculous. I mean, I understand having to adjust certain things in certain circumstances. I understand that happens, but I mean, as I said, I was getting a pretty good frame rate for most games. I wasn't shitting itself completely. of understand having to adjust certain things in certain circumstances, you know, but then I've had situations where games have performed pretty well before. As I said, I am aware of things needing adjusting in certain circumstances, but, you know,
Just give me what I need.
I will, after you do the same for me. Come and look for me amongst the ghost dancers.
Who are the ghost dancers?
Wounded knee. He means us to head to the other display.
I mean, okay, so
Can you hear Comstock's tin soldiers coming to silence us? But we are the true patriots. The history that does not fit in their books.
Our soldiers down! Think you can stop me?
We need more time.
Alright. Okay, so I mean, that's, I mean, it's sort of, as I said, it works, but there's a little bit of a lag issue here and there, obviously. But, I mean, look, at the end of it, most of the games that I've chucked at it, that are you know, could run at 4K and can run at 4K, are not too bad. I mean, I'm not getting really, really bad results. I mean, you know, okay, I've had a couple of situations where I've had to end a task or whatever. I mean, okay, I get a lot of, I do have a relative amount of background programs running, but it shouldn't really matter, because I ran the exact same background programs in Windows 8, and I never had any problems with it lagging out the error, so causing problems with the system. Now, at the end of it, as I said, to me, it's annoying, you know. I'm sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, what the fuck, you know. I mean, okay, let's just do like a, you know, quick render on something, because I've been mucking around with videos and things like that. Let's see. Pin to start menu. And what I might do is grab, say, like one of my Killer Bean videos or something like that. I think I'll just do a rendering video. Yeah, Killer Bean. What I might do is I'll chuck that into my rendering program, and I'll re-render it and just see if it works. So let's see. I mean, as I said, I was having some issues with my rendering, or trying to render a video anyway. I didn't even just do the original Killer Bean, actually. Video. I was just having some problems with rendering, with a particular type of render that I wanted to do. So let's take this, chuck this in here, chuck that there, and the conflict, yes, and already produce, and then from produce, I should be able to produce this as I want it. So normally when I pick my format, like that for example, you know, I can do different types of rendering formats and stuff. Trying to render it, or, you know, do any hardware type of rendering was virtually impossible, or almost impossible in certain circumstances. So what I might actually do is I'll get, let's set the output file. So let's see. Set the output file. It's my desktop, so quick job anyway. So as I said, I would try to render it with hardware stuff. There we go, see? Now I would try to render that file, like a file like that before, using hardware settings and everything else, and it wouldn't even do that. Now this is just, as I said, that's the test file that I'm doing it on. I'm doing it on a test file. I admit that, but at least the hardware rendering actually works now. I couldn't even get it to work before. I had issues with the like getting that codecs or that specific codecs to work properly, you know. So you know, then I go back to edit, and there it is. You know, I mean, at the end of it, I've got the rendered file. So I've rendered it to the desktop. Close that. I don't want to save it, and there's the rendered file right there. And it comes out at 52 megabytes. Now, as I said, what's pissed me off is that I couldn't even get my damn editing program to render videos properly, like my videos that I get off my camera and shit. This is my point. The rendering is now working properly, and it's rendering files correctly. There was a few issues with QuickTime. I think it was QuickTime was related to it because I used it uses it partly QuickTime to render and stuff. That's my point. I couldn't do any of that stuff with my videos. I couldn't even produce them properly. So now I can actually produce them properly and do a proper job with them. So as you can see, I'm annoyed and I'm pissed because, you know, I'm trying to do all these files and stuff and nothing's fucking working. Which, as I said, it's annoying the shit out of me. So now everything fucking works so far. I haven't had any issues with anything that doesn't work. Let's get rid of that file. My point is that, you know, I was having problems trying to render or do anything before and everything was totally unstable. Now, at the end of it, I've had to go back a couple of versions on the driver, because when I tried running with the newest driver that's available for Windows 8, that didn't fucking work. Well, that had issues as well, which was 5.8.50, which it worked and then it didn't work. So it's a combination of that. So as I said, like, now I've got proper rendering ability back. I've got all that stuff back and it's all working now. But as I said, what's annoying me is I can't understand how Nvidia can't get off their ass and fix these problems, you know? At the end of it, I've got all my programs back where they were, you know. They're all here. They're all functional. There's a couple I still got to put codes into and things like that. But, oh my god, it's just frustrating. Frustrating as hell, particularly for Nvidia. As I said, I'm using an older driver. I've had to resort to an older driver because the newer driver just didn't want to work properly when I tried to do anything. Well, it didn't want to work properly, especially when I was trying to play games and stuff. I couldn't play games properly. Most of the time, you know, they would work, half the time they wouldn't, and sort of a combination of that. So, I mean, at the end of it, you know, what the fuck? Seriously. So, yeah. So this is sort of my Nvidia rant. I'll call this video my Nvidia rant. My Nvidia rant, having to go back to Windows 8.1 to actually fix my issue, because as I said, so far on Windows 10 nothing has worked when I've tried to do particular things, particularly when I'm trying to do 4K and other things. You know, as I said, it's just it hasn't worked successfully. So at this point I'm going to leave it anyway. Thank you very much, YouTube. This is just been my little Nvidia rant for now. I hope you enjoyed it, and stay tuned for more videos, as now I'm back to actually being able to do full production, which is fantastic. Otherwise, I'd you know, well, I still am annoyed, but, you know, otherwise I'd be pretty damn annoyed. Look, at the end of it, I'm back to doing my normal videos, and I'm back to doing my normal production. And I feel better for it, but I'm still annoyed with Nvidia and can't work out what the fuck's going on with their shit lately. Alright, so stay tuned anyway. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, YouTube. Like, favorite, and subscribe to my videos. Make comments and suggestions if you like. I will be moving on to Windows 10 at some point, but not till in the future when they've fixed up the Nvidia drivers, obviously. So at this point, it's just waiting for them to fix the drivers, basically. Alright, so stay tuned. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, Instagram, Twitch TV as well. Great service, by the way. Yeah, so follow me on all those lovely services, and stay tuned for more. Thank you very much, and catch you YouTube. Bye.